everybody. What's up, Internet? I'm Jason DeRusha. Welcome to 734 from WCCO. Glad to have you with us today. This is your home for your local news update. Obviously, we have the latest on the coronavirus and the latest on the weather, too, because, boy, what a day, huh? Take a look at this live look outside. The weather watcher is green in downtown Minneapolis. When I look out the window here, it looks like the rain has stopped right now. It was quite a bit of rain earlier this morning. The roads are wet. But look at what happened in Fargo. Now, bear in mind, like, this is what I think Fargo, Moorhead area looks like all the time. I just assume this is it, right? Early April, little sleet, little snow. Not great for driving, but of course, most people working from home right now if they can. So the road's a lot less populated than they would be this time of year. Let's show you the forecast. And I'll give you like the Cliff Notes version. It stinks. That's it. What else do you need to know? It's gross. 30, 34. It's a trash day. Gets better tomorrow. Weekend, although not that much better. Tomorrow's not great either, but Sunday things turn around and Monday we should be pretty nice. Let's talk about this. First Avenue. First Avenue opened 50 years ago on April 3rd, 1970. Do you know the opening act? Joe Cocker. Now, Prince gets credit for making First Avenue famous by using that venue to film Purple Rain. That really put the venue on the map, but so many legendary acts have performed there over the year. You look at all those stars on First Avenue. So we're asking you, what is the best show you have seen at First Ave? I will never forget when Prince died, the scene at First Avenue. Minnesotans just filling the streets there, the tribute concerts that were there. Unbelievable, unbelievable memories there. Share your favorite concerts. We'll read through on, if you put them on Facebook, the WCCO Facebook page, we'll share some in just a minute. Impacts of the COVID-19 outbreak in Minnesota are now stretching into summer. Some of you have been asking what is going on with the park board and why are they closing all Minneapolis beaches, water parks, and wading pools for the whole summer. The park board's saying, look, it looks like this social distancing thing is going to be around for a while. So we can't really go out and hire lifeguards. We can't operate these places safely because so many people use them. What about schools? We kind of had an idea that things were not looking great, that the kids would go back to school. Governor Tim Walz saying there is a strong possibility students will continue with distance learning for the rest of the school year. He says the chances of returning to the physical classroom, those chances are slim. Let me give you the latest numbers on this morning. 742 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Minnesota. About half those people have recovered. So if you think about the number of people in the hospital for this, it's truly not that many. 18 people have died. In Wisconsin, 1,730 positive cases. 31 people have died. Milwaukee, kind of a hot spot for this. Within the last 12 hours around the world, more than 1 million coronavirus positive cases have been reported this morning. Roughly 90% of Americans are under a stay-at-home order in their state, and as the grim totals keep rising, some experts say that order should be extended to include the whole country.
I don't understand why that's not happening, but if you look at what's going on in this country, I just don't understand why we're not doing that. We really should be.
President Trump says he wants individual states to decide on whether a stay-at-home order is necessary. Today, the White House is expected to issue some new guidance, some new recommendations urging Americans to cover their faces while they are out in public. One of the people fighting to recover in Minnesota is a Cottage Grove man, and his symptoms are a little bit unusual. Brian Mackenzie tested positive for the virus on Tuesday, 11 days after he first saw symptoms. The first day he just had a fever. But then, he says, the symptoms quickly became more severe. His family saying he's now battling not only COVID-19, but pneumonia as well. They think Brian got it from a nurse he sat near while out to lunch with coworkers, since she, too, tested positive.
I was honestly relieved because it sounds kind of crazy, but being in limbo for 11, 12 days and not knowing what is happening and not seeing any improvement, to not wonder anymore was refreshing, because we knew that there was a course of action that could be taken.
Brian is still on oxygen at the hospital. He says he doesn't feel any better, but nurses do tell his family that he is improving. Those economic stimulus checks are going to start going out next week. Treasury Department says they'll start being mailed on Thursday. The IRS expects to send out about 5 million a week. That's a lot of checks, but there are a lot of people who have checks coming to them, so it could take several weeks, maybe even several months to get yours. Hopefully you have your direct deposit information when you filed your taxes, and then it'll go right into your account. Relief on its way to millions of small business owners all over the country. Today, some banks will start accepting applications for those federally backed loans that would help keep them afloat for up to 8 weeks. Now, those loans can be forgiven if the money is used to avoid layoffs. So if you're going to use that money to pay people, then they can be forgiven. Some banks say they don't think they're quite ready to take the applications yet. The bank's looking for more guidance on exactly how this program will work. Target supplying workers with face masks, strongly encouraging them to wear them on the job starting this weekend. So don't think of anything if you see somebody at a store wearing a mask. Minnesota company also could limit how many customers are inside their store starting tomorrow. Target hoping these added steps promote safety and social distancing. Hopefully it makes their employees feel more comfortable too. Remember all that noise about Real ID, how we have to have it by October 1st? You're going to get another year. Obviously, with DMVs shut down all around the country, the federal government saying we are pushing this back. The new deadline, 2021, that is when you will need that Real ID in order to fly domestically. Family game night ended with a great surprise for one Twin Cities woman.
It's married?
Stop. Get out.
Would you be willing to do that?
Huh? What? Oh my gosh, yes, I'll try to do.
Yes!
I mean, I have offered some strange things during negotiations over monopoly properties, but never an engagement ring. Chancey Anderson, John Tower, they live in St. Paul. They got engaged over a game of Monopoly. They were playing the Friends version based on the TV show. Chancey landed on a property called Phoebe Gets Married. John says he had the other two properties on the treat, so he got down on one knee and said, hey, give me that property. I'll give you the engagement ring. John originally had other proposal plans, but staying at home forced him to get creative.
So I thought about doing it in front of all the kids there. Then schools were canceled, and I thought about doing it at halftime of one of our games, and then those were canceled, and no more romantic vacations or dinners. So the window was sort of closing on what to do. It was a really fun, I think, surprise for Chancey. And
It was a surprise. Right afterwards,
John is, when he said one of his games, he's the head coach of the University of St. Thomas men's basketball team. John has been a frequent Good Question contributor as a social psychology professor at St. Thomas, and Chancey is the principal of a charter school in Minneapolis. Congratulations to both of them. Friends of mine, too. So I thought it was funny that we put them on the news for it, but, like, why not? We need those kind of moments of love, right? How about this? If you're like me and too cheap to pay for HBO, it's free this weekend. HBO making 500 hours of its programming free under the headline, you know, HBO stands for Home Box Office, so they're calling it Stay Home Box Office. Promotion starts today. It's only for a limited time, but still, it'll be nice over the weekend. Let's get back to today's talker. It is the 50th anniversary of First Avenue. So many stories there from music history, but also stories of the way that this venue has been saved from closure, saved from being gobbled up by one of those big national operators. Run by a great woman, Dana Frank, and
saved from the roof collapsing.
Saved from the roof collapse 5 years ago. There's a documentary playing right now on public television here in the Twin Cities. It features a news update that Liz Collin and I did about the roof collapse.
Nice.
So there you go. What are people saying? Favorite concerts?
Maybe none too surprisingly, people who are up at 7:34
right.
don't go to concerts much.
This is not your first Ave crowd.
All the answers came from people who work in this building, who work in news, who are used to never sleeping. Anyway, Addie says Against Me with Gaslight Anthem.
Oh, Gaslight Anthem. That's pretty good.
Guy says Outcast with opening act Black Eyed Peas in 1998. That's the 1998 version of Black Eyed Peas, not the 2006 version.
Oh, how fun would that have been?
And then I shared my memory the day after. You said the day that Prince died. I went the day after Prince died because they had one of 3 all-night dance parties.
Yes.
I didn't get in. I stood in line until 3 a.m. and finally got in after there was a pepper spray incident outside the club. But I got in. And it was well worth it.
One of my favorites is Ike Riley does a show every year on Thanksgiving. And a friend of mine, it's a big tradition of his, and we went to that show. And it was great. It was so fun. Yeah. Great stuff. Congratulations to First Avenue. Purple Rain by Prince will be played on radio stations all over the Twin Cities at 5 o'clock today, so tune in and check that out. That's it, 7:34 from WCCO. Have a great weekend. We will be back for you on Monday with your latest digital news update.